of the process, of the court process. However, as you said, there will be no information to give the family on compensation until that policy framework is put in place. And as soon as that is done, then the family will be made aware that the process of compensating victims of police brutality is ongoing, and then they will receive the necessary compensation as shall be established as we progress. Thank you.
Senators, remember it's one question each.
Secretary on the policy on compensation, I would like to know whether his ministry is considering, both policy is a ministerial issue, is considering passing a policy on compensation of victims of police brutality, or proposing or giving Parliament or Senate the legislative proposals for us to amend so that these victims of police brutality are compensated. Of course, we are aware that there was an effort and some people went to court because sometimes we don't understand these people who say we want these people to be compensated. They are the ones who are also saying they will go to court. So we'd like to know from the Cabinet Secretary whether they have a plan to put in place a policy for compensation of victims of police brutality.
Senator Manzo.
I would like to indicate to the good senator that the Honorable Millie Odhiambo actually did a law, bring a law to Kenya called Victim Protection Act. And also there was a Victim Compensation Act, which...
Senator Manzo, are you asking a question or are you informing somebody? Please ask your question.
Okay, let me just ask a question then. Now that the CS has said there's no policy, what plans does he have to have a victims compensation policy, and also an act of Parliament to that effect, so that a fund may be set up to be compensating such victims of police brutality? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Newton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Madam Speaker, sorry. I would like to ask the CS what he is doing to see to it that incidents of the police killing wananchi, whether innocent or otherwise, are reduced, if not completely, arrested, Madam Speaker. And I ask this because in the recent past, there has been very many such incidents, Madam Speaker. In my county, I already have one man that was killed in a police cell called Mukura.
Senator Newton, you've asked the question, okay? You have asked the question. You don't need to speak. Don't use the opportunity to speak to the issues you have asked.
Madam Speaker, sometimes it's good to show the basis.
Yes, but you know the rules
that one is asking.
You know the rules of the basis is actually question number 3. So please sit down. You've asked the question. Senator.
Madam Speaker, my question is related to question 001 by Senator Joyce. Mine is to find out from the Cabinet Minister, because he's always quick to say media and political rallies, the status of the investigation of killing of Father Alois Cheruiyot Bed, the killings that happened in Kimwani, in Tindred constituency, Nandi County, and on the status including policy and any administrative action taken against senior police officers on the youth attack by the police playing pool game in Nandi Hills Town in Nandi County. I yield back.
Madam Speaker, allow me to use the dispatch. This is the closest that I can get to the CS. I don't see a lot of him these days. Yeah, sure. So, Madam Speaker, first of all is to control with the family of Victor Kipuchumba for the loss of their kin. Madam Speaker, my question is based on
the policy direction that the CS is giving or is considering to give the National Police Service. Because, Madam Speaker, the killings by police officers have become too commonplace. What policy direction is he giving to the service to ensure that everybody feels comfortable in presence of police officers? I think.
Senator Veronica Maina.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and welcome back to Senate. Honorable CS, we have now seen you might need to be giving us a time slot when we can see you, so we sort some of those issues. Honorable CS, with the concerns that are being raised by Kenyans against the police service, for the way they are managing riots, political rallies, have you undertaken or are you undertaking to ensure that the police are more friendly to the people, that people do not face the gun as opposed to a negotiation with the police? And what are you doing to ensure that the heightened political tension right now in the rallies does not escalate to limits that the police may not even be able to control? Because right now there is such heavy tension and 2027 is very far off. Thank you.
Senator Shakila, you already asked supplementary questions. Is it a different matter? You already asked the supplementary questions to this question.
It's related to the same, Madam Speaker.
You already had your bite at it. That's the point I'm making. CS, you may now answer the questions. I have noted that Senator Gerard Gay's questions are linked to question 003C, but should you not be able to give the full detail, I think you may want to undertake to provide that information later, but if you are able to answer, then you can answer. You may proceed, CS.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. First, let me say that on the part of this question by policy on victims of police brutality, in terms of compensating victims of police brutality, police brutality is manifested in various forms and style. And forms is the most important thing to say here. There are those that happen as a result of police officers undertaking their duties or when they ought to perform their duties. For example, during rallies and during and picketing and so forth. That is what the broad-based arrangement was trying to deal with victims of such situations where people were exercising their constitutional right, and in the process, they have lost their lives. And there was a cut period of 2017 to 2025 for the process that was injuncted by courts. We hope that that process can quickly be sorted, and a consent may be recorded in court to enable this administration to do something that is unprecedented. First of all, let me start by saying that police brutality did not start 3 years ago with this administration. Police brutality was actually has been witnessed since 1963. But it was even heavy in the last administration, Mr. Speaker, where our friends now are considered by people on the other side of political divide to be very clean. I see sometimes, which is a paradox, Madam Speaker, that sometimes you find today complainers about police brutality are actually dining together with the people they still not have answered questions on police brutality in the last administration. But be that as it may, because that is really has become the level of hypocrisy in our country. As soon as someone joins certain political wing, they are no longer being held into account. And so to avoid such situations, I decided on July 18th of July last year to give a written policies document, a directive to the IG on conditions as to the use of force and firearm by police officers, so that it can guide them when are they using their firearm, what we should do, what kind of officer should be deployed, what is the mental health status of a police officer who's being deployed, so that we don't have situations where officers who are struggling with mental health challenges are being deployed and then they use their firearm to kill civilians. So that then in future, if I find myself in the same situation with my former predecessor, who I see now is busy campaigning, and I'm asked a question, at least I have a basis of Madam Speaker saying, showing Kenyans what I have done to guide on the process of police brutality. If the people of Kenya, if we now talk about police brutality generally, there is also police brutality in other situations that are unrelated to exercise of your own rights. Sometimes police officers are accused of harassing detainees or remandees, not detainees, remandees. Sometimes you are accused of killing colleagues in police stations. They are accused of harassing and hurting innocent citizens, collecting bribes and so forth. And we cannot deny, because there are some police officers, errant police officers, who bring a bad name to the police service. But you have a service of over 100,000 police officers. You can't blame everybody because of a few of them who have erred. Number two is that, so therefore, this victims protection compensation policy can only be better served by law. It cannot just be a policy, because after that a budgetary provision must be given by Parliament. This is something that we must discuss deeply, and even to the extent of who is a victim and who is a victim of police brutality. When is a police officer considered to be committing an offense in the course of duty, to the extent that he is not personally liable, the state should be able to compensate anyone. So I encourage, somebody asked whether we think we should we should come up with a legislative proposal. I think I encourage members of Parliament to come up with these proposals and show us how best we can be able to move forward on this issue. Honorable Newtu, on the reduction of police, I think I have answered generally to say that we are working very hard. One of the ways that we will reduce the impact of police interventions in public gatherings and public meetings is, Madam Speaker, to make sure that our police officers are properly trained. During Jukwaa la Usalama forum that we did last year, we really came to understand that police training is an issue that we must work on. Most police officers are trained only once in their lifetime during recruitment. And some of them, we even discovered after the death of Honorable Ngonda Were, the Speaker, who is the chair of Parliamentary Service Commission of National Assembly, requested an IG to train your VIP protection police officers, because some of you are having bodyguards who have never gone for training for the last 10, 15, 20 years. For the time they have been with you, they have never fired even one bullet anywhere. And so, Madam Chair, I thank the Chair of Parliamentary Service Commission for inviting the IG to train those officers. So continuous training is a very important issue within the police service, and I appreciate the fact that all of us now believe that we should give the necessary budgetary allocation for continuous training. Currently, the National Police Service has revamped the regional training centers in many parts of the country to ensure that we have a framework for continuous training for police officers on human rights, on the Constitution itself, on managing crowds. At the moment, I want to report to the country that we are undertaking a training for our police officers to be ready to manage crowds differently, and that training is ongoing now, and we are taking a number of police officers in different contingents so that we can deploy them ahead of the others when there is public functions and or protests that may ensue. But the best remedy, Madam Speaker, is in this House. It is with the members of Parliament. It's with our leaders. If we change the way we do our politics, we will not need to deploy a single police officer. There are counties in this country that politicians are campaigning day in, day out. They don't go around with any police officer because the ethics, the behavior, the values that they have as they campaign in their counties, both their citizens and those who are asking for votes understand that violence is not useful or helpful to anybody. But there are parts of this country that before elected leaders go for any function, they first have to spend money hiring either goons or gangs to accompany them to those functions. And Mr. Speaker, the solution is in this chamber. The solution is in this chamber and similar places where leaders are. If we can organize our politics differently, we will not need to deploy a single police officer. And even when we deploy just in case of a few criminals in there, they will not need to fire any single bullet because the politics are organized, they're clear, they're clean. Now there is a continuous spread of goonism and hooliganism across the country. It used to be confined to the urban cities, to the cities actually. It used to be Nairobi problem, Kisumu, and a few other places. But now it's become a national problem. Even in rural areas, elected leaders and aspiring leaders are actually organizing goons across the country. I think that is the existential threat to national security in this country, because those who are organizing, Madam Speaker, are in both sides of the political divide. They are in different level of political campaign, and eventually they say, why did the police fire a bullet, or why did the police kill somebody? But had we not organized the goons to come to our meetings, we could not have that situation. Thank you. Madam Speaker, I think the other issue was there's a good question that was asked by the Senator of Nandi regarding the investigations that are going on in that accusation of alleged police brutality in Nandi County, and in the situation of Father Alois, who died in our county last year. Madam, in the county where I come from, that's Elgeyo Marakwet County, and was killed by suspected bandits. Madam Speaker, I can speak authoritatively on the question of Father Alois, because that's something I know, and I have followed through the story. The biggest challenge the police are facing is to get witnesses, even where investigation lead to certain suspects. The problem is to get the witnesses, and where, because many people get intimidated not to come forward to provide evidence. The other challenge was that these are illegal firearms. So even when you do ballistic analysis, the challenge is how to link that firearm to a person, because it is not a legally issued firearm. So, but the police officers have been doing everything they could to sort this issue. I'm glad also to note that despite the terrible situation that faced Father Alois and his family, that as a result of that incident, police and the security sector having worked very hard, we've been able to disarm all the criminals that were within that area of Marakwet East. And now we can confidently say we have removed nearly all the guns. If there's any gun, there must be someone who's hiding somewhere with it. But we have collected over 1,300 guns in the Kerio Valley belt as a result of our targeted operations. And I want to thank the security team and the community for cooperating, and continue sending condolences to the family of Father Alois, whom I visited, and we continue praying for that family, even in this difficult, in the situation that they found themselves difficult times. On the question of the other issues within Nandi County, I think the Honorable Senator can bring a specific question, then we can respond, Madam Chair, formally, either through the committee or the chamber. On the use of force, on Senator Wambua, I had already responded to that issue on my policy directive on use of force that I issued on 18th of July, 2025. On the question of rallies, I think Honorable Veronica Maina, I have also responded to that issue in terms of, yes, the police are being trained to manage public crowds in situations that may come up during rallies, but it's more important for us to organize ourselves better. I think that's it. Yeah, I don't think there was another question. I thank you, Madam Chair.
Honorable Senators, we now move on to question number 4. And this is a question by Senator Professor Tom Ojenda, but Senator Wafula Wakoli will ask on his behalf. You may proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to welcome Waziri Kipuchumba. And your entrance, I can see one of our daughters of the soil giving you tips of wisdom. Allow me to proceed, Honorable Speaker. Waziri knows.
The Senator, instead of asking the question, please proceed.
Speaker, our people say the hyena told the Could the Cabinet Secretary provide details on the registered incidents of mob justice and related fatalities from January 2025 to date? B, what measures have been put in place to enhance police responsiveness to mob justice incidents, strengthen investigative capabilities, and facilitate the prosecution of perpetrators? C, what measures are being implemented by the government to address public mistrust of law enforcement agencies and the judicial system, which are key drivers of mob justice? D, what other factors have contributed to the overall increase in mob justice incidents across the country? And could the Cabinet Secretary explain the actions being taken to address them? Thank you, Honorable Speaker. This is a statement on behalf of Professor Tom Ojenda. Thank you.
It's a question. CS, you may answer the question.
Madam Speaker, this is a very broad question, and I beg your indulgence to respond accordingly. On the first part, on the details of the registered incidents of mob injustice and related fatalities from January 2025 to date, Honorable Speaker, the following are the reported incidents of mob injustice and related fatalities in the country from January 2025 to date. Yeah, I have given the list, and I don't wish to read all of it for all these counties. But just to capture a few, you'll find that in counties like Machakos, we have 22 fatalities, in Embu 33, in Kisumu 36 fatalities, in Vihiga 20, in Kilifi 18, in Kisii 18, in Migori 19, and in Nairobi 55 fatalities of mob injustice. Sorry, Kiambu was higher, 58. That points to a very serious issue, Madam Speaker, of rule of law. And people generally don't believe in the judicial system and the justice system of the country, all the way from arrest to prosecution to conviction. And when you ask this question, before even I go to part 2, when you ask this question all the time, why do people resort to mob justice or what mob injustice? the answer is always that if this person is taken to court, he will be released on bail. Because people don't understand bond, bail. They don't also understand that the justice system require certain level of burden of proof. They cannot, and sometimes they blame the police when someone has been arrested, charged, and released on bail. So some of these things are escalating this kind of mob injustice. And to have 58 in Kiambu and 55 in Nairobi is a measure of something.
Order Senator Lemaletian, can you kindly respect the House and bow? I did not see. Thank you, Senator. Proceed, please.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I don't know if I'm allowed to say, I used to sit exactly where you sat as a temporary speaker. And I appreciate the work you're doing. Number two is measures that have been put in place to enhance police responsiveness to mob injustice incidents, strengthen investigative capabilities, and facilitate the prosecution of perpetrators. Honorable Speaker, the following measures have been taken to enhance police responsiveness to mob injustices incidents. Number one, encourage local communities to collaborate with police in reporting suspicious activities and preventing mob violence. Two, deployment of police officers to respond quickly to incidents of mob injustice, especially in urban centers. Three, use of toll-free hotlines and digital platforms to report mob violence, enabling faster police deployment. And four, enhanced training of police officers on crowd control. The following measures have been taken to strengthen investigative capabilities of police officers. First, independent policing oversight authority was established to investigate police misconduct and to ensure that there is accountability, which indirectly builds public trust and reduces reliance on mob justice. Two, expanded directorate of criminal investigation, forensic and intelligence capabilities to investigate crimes more effectively. Three, training programs for officers on human rights, evidence collections, handling mob-related cases. The following measures have been taken to facilitate prosecution of perpetrators. One, strengthen coordination with police to ensure mob justice is prosecuted with sufficient evidence. Three, provide security for witnesses in mob justice cases, encouraging testimony that supports successful prosecution. And finally, efforts to reduce case backlogs, ensuring timely trial for mob justice perpetrators. However, concerns have been raised over the rising incidence of mob justice. Such incidents often involve, I have used mob justice and injustice interchangeably, Madam Speaker. It still means the same thing, one being a paradox because it cannot be justice and it's mob at the same time. However, concerns have been raised over the rising incidence of mob justice. Such incidents often involve violent attacks, public humiliation, and in some cases fatalities before suspects can be formally investigated or prosecuted. To address this, the government has put in place several measures aimed at preventing mob justice and ensuring lawful handling of suspects. One, national government officers are continuously sensitizing citizens on the importance of informing the police wherever they arrest a suspect or when incidents occur. Two, the service standing orders require all police stations to maintain a standby team to respond to incidents, including mob justice, and it is therefore the responsibility of station commanders to ensure the swift response and management of such cases. Three, toll-free number including Fichua kwa DCI toll-free hotline 0800-722-203 allow members of the public to promptly report crimes, suspicious activities, or emerging mob situations. Four, the service is strengthening the use of communication technology through integrated command, control, and communication framework to enhance quick response to incidents such as mob justice. Measures being implemented by the government to address public mistrust of law enforcement agencies and the judicial system, which are key drivers of mob injustice. Honorable Speaker, to address public mistrust of law enforcement agencies and the judicial system, the government is, one, conducting prompt and thorough investigations and ensuring that suspects are arraigned in court before court of law within the prescribed timelines. Two, intensifying community engagements initiatives as a proactive measure. Three, through structured forums, barazas, nyumba kumi, meetings, and regular consultative sessions, the government officials sensitize members of the public against taking the law into their own hands and encouraging the use of established criminal justice mechanisms to address grievances and report offenses. Four, establishing accessible and structured mechanisms through which members of the public can lodge complaints or report misconduct. These include reporting to the public, Police Quality Assurance Department, and the reporting to the Police Quality Assurance Department and the Internal Affairs Unit of the National Police Service. The service is implementing digital systems for police records, including the occurrence book, to improve transparency, accountability, and efficiency in handling incidents. This enables the public to monitor cases in real time, ensuring prompt police response, and helps minimize delays and mistrust in the police. The other factors that have contributed to overall increase in mob injustice incidents across the country and the actions being taken to address them. Honorable Speaker, other factors that may have contributed to these incidences include mistrust in the criminal justice system, as some members of public perceive investigations and court process to be slow, ineffective, or biased. The release of suspects often reinforces this perception, prompting communities to take law into their own hands. Two, circulation of crime-related content and instant justice videos on social media platforms triggers copycat incidents and normalizes violence as a dispute resolution mechanism. Three, abuse of hard drugs, impairing judgment, and increases impulsive and violent behavior, contributing to mob-related incidences. Number four, high levels of poverty and unemployment, particularly among the youth, coupled with limited economic opportunities, contribute to increased petty crimes and youth involvement in criminal activities, which often provoke mob retaliation and subsequent mob justice incidences. Five, groups engaging in organized illegal activities such as theft, robbery, and drug trafficking, whose actions can provoke mob retaliation and escalate violence in communities. To mitigate these factors, the government is strengthening the community policing and enhancing investigative capacity, improving collaboration with the Office of the Directorate of Public Prosecutions, and increasing public engagements to restore confidence among the members of public. Two, conducting targeted public education campaigns and sensitization fora to discourage violent responses. Three, conducting a crackdown on drug use and illicit substance circulation to reduce associated violent behavior. Four, engaging youth through community programs, mentorship, and advisory sessions with local administrations and religious leaders. And five, conducting a crackdown on criminal gangs through targeted operations, arrests, and disruptions of their activities. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Wakoli, do you have supplementary questions? You don't. We have quite a number of questions, follow-up questions, and I request the senators to go straight to the question so that we can give everyone a chance. Senator Chute.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, our CS has been in this house before, and I wanted the CS to tell this house, how do we communicate with him? We have issues of abduction in Marsabit, extrajudicial killings in Marsabit. I sent a letter to him, a statement that I've made to him on 25th.
Senator Chute, the question is supposed to be related to this question that has been asked.
Yeah, it's a communication, madam. So this issue has been raised earlier by even Senator Eddy. I sent a letter to him on 25th, on 8th August 2025, no reply. Then that is on abduction. Then on extrajudicial killing, I sent a letter to him on 27th of January 2026, which was received from his office on 28th.
Senator Chuta, you risk me actually calling you out of order.
I'm finished. Let me finish.
Because the question is about mob injustice. So you are supposed to ask a question that is related to what the CS was asked.
Madam Speaker, what I'm trying to ask is if there was mob justice, for example, and I want to communicate with the Speaker, with the CS, how do I communicate with him if there is a problem in Marsabit County? Because he is here today before us. And
it is noted.
Thank you.
It is noted.
So again, that letter was received on 28th January 2026. Today is 25th February 2026. There is no reply up to today. So your efficiency, you have many officers working in your office. You cannot ask one officer to reply to my letters. That, Madam, and this I speak on behalf of all the senators who are here today. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Seki.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. A question to CS. CS, I think you're very much aware on the police brutality in Kitengela most of the times, and this brings issues of this question that's on the table. And we have been wondering, maybe why are these issues of police brutalities and killing in my county particularly? Is it just because probably you had been given some instructions some times back that people should be killed? And in that,
Order, Senator.
I wanted to know.
Senator Seki, please follow the rules of question time.
Yeah,
The question is about mob injustices.
That is where,
what you have asked so far has nothing to do with that.
It is about mob.
It has nothing to do with that.
It is about that. So I'm asking the CS to tell us why is it because
Senator
of that instruction that you've given out that people in Kajiado
Senator Seki, please, order. Senator Mandago, what is your point of order?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, first, the people in the dispatch must always ensure the chair asks the senator to sit, they should switch off the mic. Madam Speaker, I just wanted to ask understanding under 105, whether the Honorable Senator for Kajiado.
Senator Cherarkei, this is you don't have the right to just speak. Okay? Let's follow the rules.
Thank you very much.
Senator Mandago is on a point of order. Can we listen? Can we hear that point of order?
105, to ask whether the senator for Kajiado is in order to allege that the Cabinet Secretary for Interior issued a shoot to kill order. Can he substantiate or provide evidence? Because this is a House of Records and we cannot allow people to make sweeping statements that are alarming.
Senator Seki, you actually made reference as to whether the CS had instructed killings. Do you want to substantiate that? Or Senator Wambua, please allow me to coordinate this. He stood on a point of order. Let Senator Seki respond, and then you can raise your issue.
Yes, Honorable Speaker, I can substantiate that given time. And if you allow me to finish up the question. My people are, the county is breathing.
Senator Chuta, what is your point of order?
Madam Speaker, let me refer you to our Standing Order 51, 5C. Let me start with first of all, A. The Cabinet Secretary shall appear in person on the day on which the respective question is listed for response. B. He shall respond to the question. And C. May, with the permission of the Speaker, make a statement on any other matter pertaining to respective state department. So, Honorable Speaker, you can allow Senator to ask questions because it says may. And
May, with the permission of the Speaker, I have not granted
Yes.
that permission.
So-
I'm sorry.
so-
Please, Senator.
let me finish, Madam Speaker. Yes.
Senator Chute, I have actually responded to you. May, with the permission of the Speaker. Senator Wambua, what is your point of order?
Madam Speaker, and I want you to hear this because I want to address the chair. Madam Speaker, mine is a plea, really a very humble plea to the chair. That, you raise on a point of order, like the one that Senator Madago asked, on substantiation of facts. In the absence of the subject of the question being raised. The CS is here. The question that Senator Seki has asked, the CS has capacity to respond to the question being asked. I don't see why a senator should rise on a point of order and seek substantiation when the subject of the question is in the House. I mean, it doesn't make sense, what I'm saying.
Senator Wambua, you are out of order. Substantiation is of a point of fact. And Senator Seki, you have asked for more time. The next session is this afternoon. Please, you'll have the opportunity to substantiate. Can you finalize your question, please?
So, Honorable Speaker, I wanted the Cabinet Secretary to clarify why these killings. We have been having public engagement, rallies in Kajiado. My people are being killed like rats, and he's in the office. And in one incident, he gave instructions. Is it because of that? That is the question. He needs to clarify to this House. And if it's not that, then he needs to apologize to Kenyans why my people in Kajiado are being killed like rats by the same government.
Senator Manzo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to ask the CS, now that he has provided the data as to mob injustices, killings, does he also have a data for mistaken identity killings? Because a lot of times in those mob justice scenarios or injustice, it's a case of mistaken identity. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Kisang.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My question is, I wanted to find out from the CS, between his ministry and the Minister of Transport, if they have any plan, because sometimes, Madam Speaker, some of the mob injustices arise as a result of road accidents between border riders and vehicles. So do they have a plan or policy in place so that, there should be some continuous sensitization, training of the border riders on these laws?
Senator Nyoto.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The CS has said that, of course, having admitted that mob justice or injustice is happening because people have little trust in law enforcement agencies, Madam Speaker. And the CS has said that one of the steps that the ministry is taking is under number 4, establishing accessible and structured mechanisms through which members of the public can lodge complaints or report misconduct. And these include reporting to Police Quality Assurance Department and the Internal Affairs Unit. So, Madam Speaker, my question is, until there was an attack on ACK Wetima in Othaya Nyeri,
very few people in Kenya had heard about this internal affairs unit within the police. So the question then to CS Murkomeni is, exactly where is it based? Where will our people be able to report to? And can they trust the internal affairs unit of the police, where the police are investigating fellow police officers who commit injustices? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Aaron Cheruiyot.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I also have a question. This is a very serious matter we are discussing, because mob justice on many occasions leads actually to death, and we have been given the statistics by the minister. And the minister should pay very close attention to this subject, particularly those that are politically instigated. For example, Madam Speaker, I've just seen a video of a young man who was attacked by a mob this morning, people carrying machetes and rungus somewhere in Nyamira, because I think he held a contra-review to the ongoings by a section of the political faction in the country. And therefore, there is a connection between politicians and their political activities and some of these mob justice incidences, which perhaps a ministry needs to give policy direction on, and the desire to hold political players who maybe incite young people to violence and things of the sort to be brought to book as a lesson, because it may not be possible, Madam Speaker, to arrest those people who commit those acts at that particular time, but at least the politicians that instigate them, if they are known, particularly those and that are actively engaging young people to engage in such activities, what plans do the ministry have? And you know, Madam Speaker, why it should be of concern to the minister is that in 2021, when we were in the opposition with him, we were victims of political mob justice also in a place called London Ward in Nakuru. And the only reason why perhaps maybe he may have forgotten is that because he's quicker than me, he ran faster and he did not fall.
Too short because of the left time. Now we have 4 more senators. Ask your question quick because we only have 10 minutes for all those questions to be asked and answered. Senator Hezena.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I welcome the CS House. Just remind him that he should please kindly be picking our calls. Madam Speaker, there has been rising menace, like I said recently in a statement I made on the floor of this House on the gangs across the whole country, and Samburu, Madam Speaker, was not an exception, because in Maralal town,
Senator, sorry to rush you. Please just go straight to the question. The time is short.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would like to know what the ministry has done to ensure that the police at the grassroots are strengthened and facilitated enough to be able to deal with the criminal gangs that are mushrooming across the whole country, especially in urban centers. In Maralal, we had a case of a boy being
Senator,
stabbed.
your question has been asked. Senator Veronica.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. CS, on this question of mob justice, I don't know whether you have put focus on the conflict between border sector when there are accidents, because some of those mob justices have occurred from those incidences. And number 2, from politically instigated public gatherings. Honorable CS, you should feel the freedom to even ban public gatherings if people are going to be clobbered and beaten, killed,
Senator,
in the name of politics.
Senator Veronica, please just ask the question.
And Honorable, let me then ask the specific question. Why are you not working very closely with IEBC to ensure politicians who have overstepped their mandate within a public gathering which turns violent is brought to book and punished for those actions? Women are no longer addressing those gatherings.
Senator
Honorable
Mudigi.
CS.
Asante Bwana Spika. Na swali langu ni kuuliza waziri wa ulinzi.
Senator Mundigi, sio Bwana Speaker.
Madam Speaker, swali langu ni kuuliza waziri wa ulinzi, kulingana na joto ile inaendelea vyama na tunaelekea uchaguzi wa mwaka wa 2027. unaweza kuwa utasaidia namna gani ndio tukifika pale mambo ya ulinzi itakuwa sawa, ndio tusipate shinda, kwa sababu inaonekana vyama mingi ama watu wenyewe wanapigana, wanalaumu serikali.
Senator Beatrice Ogolla.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. CS Murkomen, so far you are doing well. Madam Speaker, last weekend I was at home with the public.
Ogolla,
the question
On Honorable Seki on police brutality, I think he came late. I served as his vice chair for a few days in this chamber before I was appointed to the cabinet. And Senator Seki knows very well who I am, and or ought to know that I cannot order any killing of anybody. If he is referring to an incident that happened when the Kikuyu law courts were banned, and I asked a rhetorical question to the public as to whether if a man comes with guns to steal guns from a police officer, whether the police officer should not use force. I also moved forward, Madam Speaker, to provide later on 18th of July 2025 a document, a policy document that I can be held accountable. I can be held into account for on 18th of July that spells out incidences where the police officers can use force and they can use their firearm. I do not mind sharing the same letter to Senator Seki or through the Senate social WhatsApp group, which has now been made public that I'm a member previously by the minority whip of the Senate. Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, on the question of, to speak, Kitengela is facing very serious challenge, and I think the senator should not simplify that issue. Kitengela is a serious hotspot for criminal gangs that are actually utilized by politicians, particularly that share very close relations with the senator. And Madam Speaker, Kitengela's problem has not just happened yesterday. It has been an issue for the last 15 so years. It was also more serious when Michuki was the cabinet secretary or the minister at that point in time, and it was one of the areas that was full of Mungiki sect players that caused havoc in both Kajiado and Nairobi from as early as 2000. So that effort that the police have done so far has improved the status of Kitengela. However, politicians, and particularly those who want to incite the public against the government, have been hiring young boys and goons and criminals in the name of protests. And I don't want the senator to provoke me to say more than that because of mutual respect. But what is important is to say that it is important for the political actors on both sides of the political divide, but specifically those who held rallies recently and those who organized Maandamano last year, to stop utilizing young people and arming them to cause violence with rungus, machetes, and all that, and provoking police officers. In fact, in our national police security strategy, Kitengela, we have a particular plan about Kitengela, including when the president recently told us to think about the Nairobi metropolitan security sector, Kitengela and some parts of, together with some parts of Nairobi, Machakos, Kiambu, are actually hotspots that we need to really look at criminal gangs. And I'm not saying goons, criminal gangs that operate from Kitengela itself. This is a threat to national security, and I do not wish the senator to think that the people of Kitengela are his people. They are the people of Kenya. They are our people. There is our country. There is no particular section of this nation that should be left to criminals in any manner. And I wish the senator would use the same spirit in dismantling, helping us to dismantle these gangs. On the police brutality, on the Honorable Chute, again, sorry, that's what was, I already responded to Honorable Chute on that issue. I think the only thing I'll think is the standing order that Honorable Chuti read, I think 55 or 50. Madam Speaker, it is your discretion to give the Cabinet Secretary to respond to something that you may give directions as the Speaker. It is not to divert from the, the subject matter that we are dealing with and move to other subjects that the Cabinet Secretary is not prepared to come and respond. On Senator Manso's, mob justice is definitely mistaken identity, or it's the wrong way of doing, because you cannot say this is the criminal until there is evidence. So you are actually, it's innocent until proven guilty. And it is true that there are cases where mob justice target people who are absolutely not related with a suspected crime at all, or being even somebody who was not even present there as a passerby. And in some instances that have been reported, innocent people have been attacked by mob. It is true what Honorable Gisang and his neighbor, both Senator Gisang and Senator Veronica, have raised similar issues on border riders and the issues of mob injustice. This is a sector that is, I think we may have to discuss measures we are putting in place, but already we are working with the Ministry of Transport to see if they can make mandatory identification for border riders, including their area of operation, including their code of conduct and so forth. We expected that there was going to be better self-regulation, but now crimes are being perpetrated by criminals riding motorcycles and hiding behind border business. And it is really causing havoc in this city and other parts of the country, because the border itself can easily access Panya routes and other areas that make it very difficult for law enforcers to really identify them quickly because of their sheer numbers and the people they carry. We have a plan to deal with also the ones who have been causing havoc in the city, muggings, robberies in this city, where a border rider is riding with three others. Three criminals are riding in one motorcycle, others are robbing people, and the one who is riding is aiding and abetting and enabling that crime. So border sector remains a challenge. Some work is being done by our county security teams, but we need to upscale that work with the Ministry of Transport, and those are issues that were raised in our Jukwaa la Usalama, and we are looking for ways to make sure that this is sorted. But this is not happening without political support again. There are politicians that own and support these groups, and they use them for their political events. And they come gladly knowing that once they are in these political events, they will, apart from what they are being paid to come and do, because many politicians pay them, they will also rob people around the city and other parts of the country. And again, as I said earlier, if it starts with us, and I agree with Majority Leader that we must be seen to be enforcing the law, regardless of who you are or who the person is, by arresting these people. We will need a more lethal force to deal with these gangs. Unfortunately, the environment we are operating in, there is no consensus as to whether we should deal with these gangs using lethal force. And you see, because some of them are armed, if they engage police officers, some people will die. And as soon as somebody dies, I will be brought here, oh, the government is killing people, oh, it's our people, oh, it's our youth. Even someone who burned a police station, wanted to steal ammunitions, somebody who was attacking police officers, somebody who has burned their court, somebody attacking somebody's business. If we do anything, we are told that this government is killing our youth, and of course it becomes the political slogan for our competitors. So it is important that there is national consensus. Let's stop just paying lip service to this conversation. There must be a national consensus to support the IG and the National Police Service. If CS Michuki had not carried a very painful exercise to get rid of Mungiki, we could not be where we are. In the same way, recently in my own county and the neighboring counties, we had to support the police to carry out serious operations against the bandits. We could not have collected 1,300 guns without proper political support, both from my office and the local community. So there must be a consensus in the city that we need to clean the city. And the political leaders, despite the political side, must agree. You cannot allow these muggings that are happening here and robberies and people and gangs, people occupying people's property, threatening people, hurting men and women and children. I hope we will close ranks when the IG soon announces further measures on this area. On the question of internal affairs units, I agree with Senator Newtu that maybe internal affairs unit needs to publicize its operations or cases so that Kenyans can understand that there is a mechanism. But there is a constitutional mechanism, of course, in the national IPOA, the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, who has constitutional duty to investigate all the police officers. The measures internally that have been for the police is to make sure that you quickly take administrative action and disciplinary action on the part of the police officer as you wait for the criminal act that is going to, the criminal investigation, the investigations by IPOA. In some cases, the DCI will just arrest a police officer and they charge them in court. You don't have to wait for IPOA. So those mechanisms are there. And the question,
you just have about 3 minutes to wait.
I think I'm almost coming to an end. On the political activities, I will reiterate what the majority leader said about political players. Yes, some gangs are properly and fully utilized by politicians, 100%. If you saw some of the challenges we had in Kisii this weekend, courtesy of political activities in that area, you will see that both those who are campaigning and their competitors are mobilizing young people, including some of them have unique uniforms in line with the political side they support. And I think it is an area also we must work together to get rid of it, but we will, as we continue enforcing the law, I believe that the people of Kenya will support us even where the political leaders do not. I agree with Senator Lemaletian on the question of Samburu, Maralal. You know very well that we've done a lot in Maralal. We changed security recently, tried to bolster the security team, and the IG is working on, and it's not just Maralal alone, across the country, deploying more police officers, more agile, newly trained, as soon as we complete the current training in September, October. And I hope that this will help us. As you know, Samburu, we have various challenges. We are still dealing with bandits, and then we are told in town people are causing havoc, gangs and goons and mob justice in the town. I know you have asked me to pick my calls. I'm sure when I leave this chamber now, there will be a member of parliament or a senator who is complaining that I have not picked their calls. The nature of the job I do, Madam Speaker, is very, very, very busy. Between now and 1 a.m., I will still be working, and I'm expected to wake up the next day to do some work. So if when I do not manage to respond to your calls, there are channeled established procedures in the office. And I've come to establish that many people who come to my office, they will not leave their issues with the officers in the office. They just insisted that I wanted to see the cabinet secretary. If we can utilize the resources in the office, then they can be able to respond, like Senator Chutia said. Lastly, IBC, I think we will support IBC, and the National Police Service is ready to support IBC to make sure that political activities are done within the law. If I pronounce myself here that we are doing it on behalf of IBC, or we are banning public rallies, I think IBC should take the legal steps, and it is for us then to support them, whether it's policy from my office or the IG security-wise, to make sure that once they pronounce a certain gathering to be illegal, then it is for us to do the law enforcement. I thank you, Madam Speaker, and I look forward to coming here again. Thank you.
Honorable Senators, it's now 1:10 p.m. and having concluded the business for which I extended the hours of sitting pursuant to Standing Order 34-2A, the Senate stands adjourned until today, Wednesday, 25th February 2026 at 2:30 p.m.